This might be the longest and most expensive day trip in New Zealand, and people still call it the most beautiful place on earth. Are you looking for the most awesome view that there is on this planet, or an amazing drive to get to that view? Well, then you've come to the right place. We're going to Milford Sound, New Zealand. Everyone says it's a must-do, but this is a full day on the road, unpredictable weather, heavy crowds, and a drive that looks a lot easier on Google Maps than it feels in real life. So today we're testing everything: the best stops on the drive, logistics, food, costs, the weather, and the cruise itself to see what actually matters. By the end of this video, we'll break down 6 things you'll need to know before doing the Milford Sound day trip. Is this really the best thing to do in New Zealand? We'll examine everything and let you know. All right, let's get to it. The drive itself is a big part of the experience, but not every stop is worth it. We're breaking down which viewpoints actually add to the journey, and we'll show you which stops we feel are the best. We're on our way to Milford Sound from Te Anau, so this is the Milford Sound Highway. Seen, I believe, is one of the most beautiful drives in the world, so excited about this drive. Our first stop along the Milford Sound Road opens into the vast Eglinton Valley, one of the few flat valleys in the fjord, where glacial carved landscapes stretch wide beneath alpine peaks. The next stop is Mirror Lakes. A short boardwalk leads to this famous spot, where a series of small, still pools perfectly reflect the surrounding mountains on a calm day. These shallow lakes act like natural mirrors, creating one of the most photographed stops along the Milford Sound Road. Timing and weather can matter. When the water is still, the reflection is almost flawless. Falls Creek is our next must-see stop. Well, one of the stops along the way to Milford Sound is Falls Creek. So we stopped here to see if we can find these gorgeous waterfalls. I can hear them, and maybe you can hear them too. There's somewhere back in here. Let's go find them. Falls Creek is a quick roadside stop which reveals cascading waterfalls dropping dramatically towards the fjord. It offers one of the first true glimpses of Milford Sound's raw alpine scale. Here are these beautiful falls. They're long stretching falls. You can pull off to the side there. There's a small parking area. Probably can't hear me because they're so loud. And our last stop that you've got to do is the Chasm Walk. Well, we're at another roadside stop, the Chasm. And you can see behind me, there's nothing but gorgeous views here. But in this chasm, it looks like it's going to be a short walk to see, I think, a waterfall. So we're still on our way into Milford Sound, but we had to stop here. It looks fantastic. The chasm follows an easy boardwalk through the lush rainforest filled with moss, ferns, and native flora, before arriving at a powerful waterfall that has carved smooth rock formations over thousands of years. Chasm walk wasn't too bad. It said 20 minutes. It took us more like 10 or 15 minutes to get in and out of there after we saw the chasm. We think we saw a kiwi. I don't know. Maybe. So those are the 4 stops we would recommend doing on the Milford Sound Road. You know, sometimes going to an excursion can be just as great or just as rewarding as doing the excursion, and that's the case with the Milford Sound Road. The drive is absolutely beautiful. It's approximately 2 hours, but with the 4 stops we made, it's around 3 hours. So make sure you allocate at least 3 hours of driving time to get to Milford Sound from Te Anau. Between fuel, food, accommodations, and the full day drive, we want to see what this trip actually costs in reality, not just the headline price. Milford Sound is often presented as a simple cruise experience, but getting here is actually more than a full-day journey. And once we did the trip ourselves, we realized the real cost isn't just the cruise ticket, it's everything surrounding it. But the cruise is only part of the overall expense. The drive, food, timing, and logistics all add layers that many travelers don't fully account for. One of the important costs is fuel. For our trip, fuel costs were $2.60 a liter. Filling up was around $70. This is an important cost. You must fill up, whether you're coming from Queenstown or Te Anau. One smaller cost to plan for is food, because services are extremely limited once you leave Te Anau. Most visitors end up buying snacks or lunch ahead of time before starting the drive at all. And it cost us close to $15 for our snacks we purchased at the local grocery store in Te Anau. Where you stay the night before also changes the total price of the experience. Staying closer in Te Anau often makes the day easier. Even once you arrive, there are additional costs to consider. There is free parking. We're so worried about the parking, but free parking is the way to go. We'll find out hopefully what the expensive parking's like when you park closer. All right, but get here early for parking. That is a big tip. The biggest cost of all may not be money, it's time. It isn't a quick stop. Between the drive, the cruise, the hotel, and the return journey, Milford Sound usually becomes a 24-hour commitment focused on a single destination. So when planning Milford Sound, understanding the real costs ahead of time makes the day far more enjoyable and much easier to plan. Planning a New Zealand trip can be a huge task. What's your number one question about visiting this amazing land? Ask below and we'll see if we can help. Well, the food on the Milford Sound Drive is very different from what many travelers expect. Once you leave Te Anau, services become extremely limited, and there's essentially no reliable places to stop for meals, coffee, or snacks along the way. This means food isn't something you figure out during the trip. It's something you need to plan before you leave. Most visitors will want to buy snacks or a lunch in Te Anau ahead of time, either from a cafe or a local grocery store. We picked up shelf-stable snacks at First Choice Grocery Store in Te Anau. Bringing your own food makes the experience much easier and avoids relying on very limited availability once you arrive. The Milford Sound Cruise is the highlight for most people, but expectations are usually shaped by the perfect photos online. We wanted to see what it's actually like in real conditions, where you stand, what you see, and whether the experience matches the hype. Well, one thing we noticed right away is that seating matters more than many people expect. Passengers who board early tend to secure the best viewing spots. If you board later or last, finding a consistent viewing position can be more challenging. The most immersive views are outside on the open decks, but outdoor seating is limited. Wow, is it jammed with people? The views are amazing, just amazing views. But it's not the easiest to see. It's a boutique cruise, but you can't see from the back all that well because there's so many people getting up and standing in your way. Really, if you're not the first dozen people on the boat to get a seat at the back, it's not as ideal. But it doesn't take away the views. Wow. You can still move around the boat throughout the journey, which helps everyone get different perspectives when major sights appear, like waterfalls. It's so windy you can't hear me. The scenery itself is undeniably beautiful. Towering cliffs, waterfalls, and the scale of the fjord is impressive from start to finish. What photos don't really communicate is the pacing of the experience. The boat travels slowly, and the cruise follows the same route out towards the open sea and then returns along the opposite side. While the views remain beautiful, the visual experience becomes more gradual and repetitive over time. So, the reality of the Milford Sound Cruise isn't about whether the scenery delivers. It absolutely does. It's about understanding how the experience works. After getting off the cruise, we took a moment to reflect on the experience while everything was still fresh. Alright, well, we just got off the cruise, the Milford Sound Cruise. I hope you can hear us pretty good because the mics weren't working on the boat because it was just so windy, and now we've got a helicopter going over. This is a wild place, lots going on. The cruise was the scenery here is spectacular, just spectacular.
Very rugged.
Very rugged. The boat cruise, they jam a lot of people on the boat, so in some situations it isn't the easiest to see. You're taking photos or videos into the back of people, but it all works out in the end, I guess. You still see some great stuff. Now, for it to be one of the top views there is in the world, I don't know. We've been to the Amalfi Coast and the Algarve in Portugal, and my God, those are spectacular. I don't know if this would beat them. I don't think so. But it's still wonderful. Is it worth it? I don't know. Yes or no?
Worthwhile, for sure. I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
But
Unfortunately, I mean, when you're on it, you kind of get, the views. It's funny to say the views are so great, but you kind of finally, you're done with them. Like, I don't know.
yeah, maybe it could be a little shorter. Maybe they could come back a little faster, since same views coming back as going. But it was still pretty great.
It's up to you. I guess we'd say yes to come and do this. And what about the overall logistics of this trip? Milford Sound is very much a timing game. Parking, fueling up ahead, start times, crowds, and even where you stay the night before can completely change the experience. Here's how the logistics actually played out for us on the day. Now, the one thing that surprised us is that Milford Sound planning really begins months before you arrive in New Zealand. Cruise departure, accommodation in Te Anau, and of course, the car rental. Without all those reservations secured early, completing this day trip exactly as planned can become very difficult. Where you stay the night before has a major impact on the day itself. Starting from Queenstown means a very early departure and many hours on the road, likely 5 hours one way. Staying closer in Te Anau shortens the drive significantly and makes the timing far more manageable. Fuel planning is also essential. After leaving Te Anau, services become extremely limited, so filling up beforehand is an extremely important step before committing to the drive. Parking is located away from the main terminal. There is free parking. Get here early. We're here an hour and a half ahead. We're so worried about the parking, and we got one of the last spots. I think it's about a 15-minute walk. We'll let you know. But free parking is the way to go. We'll find out hopefully what the expensive parking's like when you park closer. All right, but get here early for parking. That is a big tip. The biggest logistical lesson for us was allowing more time than you think you'll need. Weather changes, photo stops, traffic along the narrow highway end, bus tours, cruise departures, and independent travelers often arrive in waves. So we are right now at the terminal, the passenger terminal at Milford Sound, and when you drive in here, the road isn't busy, there's not a lot of cars, and you get here and you go, where did everyone come from? The buses and buses are unloading here, so there's loads of people. A tight schedule here can quickly become a stressful one. We'd advise arriving 60 to 90 minutes before your departure time. In reality, Milford Sound isn't just a cruise. It's a carefully coordinated full-day experience. where transportation, timing, and preparation all work together. And once those logistics are understood, the final piece of the puzzle is something no one can control: the weather. We were lucky. Our day was clear, calm, and beautiful. The kind of conditions most visitors hope for. But after experiencing Milford Sound firsthand, we realized something important. Good weather gives you long views, bright colors, and incredible visibility. But Milford Sound isn't a place that only works on a perfect day. Clouds moving through the mountains, mist forming waterfalls, and dramatic light shifting throughout the fjord. The biggest factor isn't perfect weather, it's preparation, timing, and managing expectations. After all the planning, the long drive, and the crowds, Milford Sound really is a remarkable place. But when you know what to expect, the experience absolutely delivers. Hopefully, this will help you plan it even smarter than we did our first time. We're continuing our full New Zealand video series, so if you're planning your own trip to New Zealand, watch our next video and subscribe to follow our journey. We hope it helps. Any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to get that like from you. All right, until next time, happy travels.